The door that appeared. Every night at exactly 2:17 every morning, Daniel heard 3 knocks on his bedroom door. Knock, knock, knock. The first night, he ignored it. The second night, he blamed the old house. But on the third night, Daniel opened the door. Nobody was there. Only an envelope with his name on it. Inside was a note, "Don't take the highway tomorrow." Daniel thought it was a prank, but the next morning, something told him to listen. He took another route to work. Later, he learned that a massive accident had happened on the highway, exactly where he normally drove. That night, Daniel stayed awake. 2:17. Knock, knock, knock. Another envelope. Call your father. Daniel hadn't spoken to his father in months after an argument, but after what happened with the highway, he called. They talked for hours. They apologized. Before hanging up, his father said, "I've missed you, son." The next morning, his father suffered a heart attack. He survived, but Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the note. The messages continued. Take an umbrella. It poured. Don't trust the man in the blue jacket. The man later tried to scam him. Check on your neighbor. Daniel found his elderly neighbor collapsed and called an ambulance. Soon, Daniel stopped fearing the knocks. He started waiting for them, until one night, nothing happened. 2:17, 2:18, 2:30, silence. Daniel opened his bedroom door. At the end of the hallway stood something impossible, a tall black door. Daniel had lived there for years. That door had never existed. A note was attached. Do not open. Daniel listened. But the door remained night after night. Eventually his curiosity became unbearable. Who was sending the notes? Was the answer behind that door? One night, Daniel grabbed the handle. He opened it and froze. On the other side was his own bedroom, and he could see himself sleeping. Daniel looked at the clock. 2:16 a.m. Then he noticed the date. Exactly 1 year ago. Someone was standing outside the bedroom holding an envelope. The stranger placed it on the floor. Then, knock, knock, knock. Daniel's heart pounded. Who are you? The stranger turned around. Daniel couldn't breathe. The man was older, gray hair, wrinkles, a scar across his forehead. But Daniel recognized his eyes. It was him, an older Daniel. You've been sending the notes? Daniel whispered. Yes. How? Because I know what happens. Daniel stepped closer. Then tell me my future. The older Daniel shook his head. I can't. Why? Because every time I save you from one mistake, something else changes. He handed Daniel one final envelope. Inside were 5 words. Stop waiting for the notes. Daniel looked confused. What does that mean? The older Daniel sighed. I spent my whole life wishing someone would tell me what decision to make. So when I found this door, I came back to guide you. But I made a mistake. What mistake? I taught you to trust these notes instead of yourself. The doorway began disappearing. Daniel panicked. Wait, what happens to me? The older Daniel smiled. I don't know anymore. Why? Because you've already changed. The door slammed shut. Daniel opened it again. Nothing. Only a wall. The next night, 2:17 arrived. No knock, no envelope. But Daniel wasn't afraid anymore. He called his father, visited his neighbor, apologized to someone he'd hurt, and finally pursued the opportunity he'd been afraid of for years. Not because a note told him to, because he chose to. Daniel never heard those knocks again, but he never forgot what his older self told him. You don't need to know tomorrow to live correctly today.